No.
Oh,
Okay, we're here.
yeah.
We're live.
Cool.
We did it. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm just going to jump right into it. So, anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Brittany Brainstorm. I am the creative director of Brainstorm Boutique. I help small businesses with big dreams with their branding, social media, social media consulting, and web design. Tonight, I have my sister Casey with me here. She's also
Hi.
a talented designer and she is a confidence coach, which is really exciting. And we have a couple of episodes about that, one with Rocio and one with Casey herself. But tonight, it's not about us. We have our new friend. We just met tonight live here, Sarah Garcia, and she is with My Salon Freedom and so many other things. Sarah, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself, okay?
Yeah, sounds great. So, hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Garcia. I've been a salon owner for 13 years now.
Wow.
I know, right? I look so young, right?
Yeah,
do.
yes, girl, you got it.
So, just to give you a little history of myself, I grew up in Pinckneyville, Illinois. I always joke because, half our town is incarcerated, but that's okay because they don't understand how small our town is, but just, to throw that out there. When I was 22, I couldn't wait to get out of my hometown. And I said, mark my words, I will never return back to Pinckneyville. And after traveling around on Norwegian cruise lines, I worked on Norwegian cruise lines for a while.
Girl, what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sailed around the world and returned to my hometown that I said I would never was going to return, and opened my own salon. And then, so I opened in 2008 when the stock market crashed. A heck of a year to open. But I've been a salon owner for 13 years, and last year I created a shareholder within my company. So one of my girls, Miss Taylor, she's going to purchase my business December 31st of this year. And then, thanks. And then I'm starting this new journey of Salon Freedom, where I help hairdressers kind of in plain terms, get their crap together, really.
Yes.
And I can say that because I am a hairdresser. I can say that because I am one of those people that needed to get my crap together. So, that's kind of my story. So, yeah.
That's great. I have a lot of friends from Pinckneyville, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it. I think that a lot of people who come from Pinckneyville just have, like, a spirit about them that is infectious, and I feel like if I were you and I had grown up there, it would be really hard to leave.
Yes.
I've met some of the best people from there.
Oh, good.
I agree.
Good.
Yeah.
Panther
It makes
spirit,
sense that
right?
we met. Yes, it makes sense because usually I meet someone and I'm like, wow, I really like them, and they're like, I'm from Pinckneyville, and I'm like, yep, I bet so.
There's another one.
Yep.
Yes.
Another one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, first of all, I want to hear about this cruise line experience you had, because it sounds like it was kind of like the start of it all.
Yes. So I remember when actually my dad came home with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and it had an article in it that said, "Want a working holiday?" And he was like, "Sarah Jo, look at this, you need to do this." And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, tell me where. He's like, it's out of everywhere. You could be Hawaii, you could be Costa Rica. I think you should apply.
Wow.
So I applied in 2 different places. One was that ad. I actually sent an email with my resume, and the other place was Steiner.com, which was like kind of like a third party that employs all cruise ships, and you apply with them, and then they kind of place you according to your skill to which cruise ship. So after I applied, I got the call, and they said, "Hey, we need you to fly to Miami, Florida for an interview." And I was like, oh my gosh, could really be happening. So I took my mom as my model. And of course, she thinks I'm great, Yeah. So my mom's.
Can I ask you something real quick? So this is for a hairdresser position.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Whoa.
Okay.
Yes. Whoa.
Yes. So I was already a licensed cosmetologist at the time. So I was working different franchises around Carbondale, Murfreesboro, Roxborough area, and then just knew I needed something more, so I applied for this. So yeah, kind of right in the crossroads of transitioning salons. So
amazing.
I flew to Miami, Florida. I took my mom as my model, and she's supposed to be like talking to me like a client, right? And she's like, "You're doing so great. You're so fabulous." I'm like, "Mom, I know that you think I'm fabulous, but I need you to just pretend for a moment that you're like a regular person." So
that's what moms are great for, though. Okay,
right? Yes, number one cheerleader for sure.
Yeah.
And we had to do an updo timed in 30 minutes. We had to do a blow dry, and then we had to give a 5-minute speech on why you think you deserve the job more than anybody in the room. And I competed with close to 200 girls.
This is like Miss America.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
So and too, this is back in the day. So like, before, there's still internet and everything, I sent my resume, but they would notify you by a phone call, not, a text message or email, whatever. They would actually call you. So they said within 14 days, you'll know if you have the job. So I flew to Miami, competed with all those girls. And 2 weeks later, I was like, oh man, every day I was like, I didn't get it.
No.
And then on the 14th day, I got a phone call from my mom and dad's house, a landline. And I remember she's like, "Is this Sarah?" I'm like, yes. She's like, "Can you be in Hawaii on Saturday?" And I was like, yes. Yep. It was Thursday, and they wanted me to fly out on Saturday. Yeah.
I love this story.
Gosh.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yep.
I know I'm a little late, but congratulations on the job.
right? Yes.
Just a little late.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'm just really excited about this.
Yeah. So I remember I flew, 10 hours to this little, actually they put us at a YWCA while we trained for Norwegian Cruise Lines. And then I trained for 2 weeks in Honolulu. And then I met my ship, which was the Pride of Aloha. And I signed an 8-month contract and worked on board Norwegian Cruise Lines for 8 months doing hair, doing color, pedicures, manicures, all that good stuff.
Wow. I know this isn't how it went, because I know that cruise ships aren't like this, but like I can just imagine like trying to cut hair like whenever the ocean's like maybe you just like, and you like do like, it ending up perfectly straight and you being like, I'm a master.
Yes.
It is I'm the captain. This is my ship now.
I can cut in 14-foot swells. Yes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so was there like a whole different training for this than what you experienced, or was it similar?
It was pretty similar. I think that, I already had probably a year's experience working different franchises. So really it was kind of fine tuning, like blow drying. And actually, we did so many updos, like pinups because every Monday we were in Maui. So every Monday I remember having like 10 brides every single Monday.
Wow.
So I did a heck of a lot of updos.
Wow.
That's
updos
amazing.
Yes.
Well, that's something, I never thought about. Okay, this sounds really dumb, but I just never thought about how cruise ships, they have people on there for doing hair, like,
right?
You have to have, like, you have your special occasions, you have, all those, they have all their events and all those, I don't know, dinners and things like that. So that's really cool. Robert Bode just said, I wish I had the hair for an updo.
Start your grow out, honey.
Yes, it's not too late.
It's too late.
Anytime when you're ready.
Yes.
So from there, first of all, what was your experience on there? Like when you were there for 8 months, were you literally on there for 8 months solid, or did you get breaks? Like, what does that even look like?
So when you first sign a contract and you're a U.S. citizen, you have to do 2 contracts that are U.S. So no matter what, you have to start in Hawaii, which, So unfortunate, right?
Awful. I hate
I'll take
that
Hawaii.
for you.
Right.
So mad.
So I did I actually did 2 contracts in Hawaii. So what that looks like is you eat and you sleep and you live on the ship. So you really have to love your roommates because they'll keep roommates together. So housekeeping keeps with housekeeping, concierge with concierge. So hairdressers and the whole spa team, whether esthetician, massage, or hairdressers, we all room together because we work the same shifts. So we did, this is how it works. This is the easiest way to explain it is we did 7/12s. So you could pick 12 hours off. So you could have one day off. Or you could split into 2 6 hours and have a half day one day and a half day another day. So a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's awesome. So when you met all those like other hairdressers, and I can't pronounce the other word, esthetician. Did I do it right? That's the first time I've ever said that word right. And that's because you immediately said it. I had zero confidence.
Yes.
I know I should coach myself through, but we got there. Anyway, when you met all those other people, is that whenever you kind of had this moment that you were like, wow, like we literally are all in like this like financial mess?
No, that's how I got myself into a financial mess.
There's more.
Yes. I was
Mallory Miner did that. And then the raise hands emoji. I think we were talking about how long of shifts you were doing on there. Sorry. So this is going to transition then to some good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So
we'll let you have this.
God.
I'm literally making tea right now, so this is first.
So yeah, oh my gosh. No, I was so young and so stupid with money. Oh my gosh. I remember I loved makeup, right? So that was when my roommate was an esthetician. So she's like, hey, have you ever like messed with MAC makeup? Like I use like cheap stuff from Walmart, like Conair stuff. Like, and she's like, oh girl, you got to get these brushes and eyeshadow. And I'm like, oh, this is what like big girls do. Like they get nice makeup and nice brushes. I remember every Monday we were in Maui, we would try to like time our time off either like Honolulu or Maui because there's a lot of things to do. And I remember blowing so much money on makeup and dresses. And in fact, I remember buying these glasses that were like Gucci that I never should have purchased ever. I think about all the money I blew on stupid crap. So I literally, when I was on the cruise ship, I lived paycheck to paycheck because I was like, I'm only going to be here once. I'm going to live life. I'm going to I'm going to swim with dolphins. I'm going to look my best.
For the dolphins.
Hey, the dolphins deserve it, okay?
That's right.
Let me have my Lisa Frank moment. Is there a golden retriever for these dolphins right now?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's so easy to do and be in that mindset though. Like,
oh man.
I mean, it is fun, but it's not sustainable.
No. And I remember the time there was a massage therapist that did an 8-month contract where she walked off with $40,000 because if you think about it, cruise ship is a great opportunity to save money. I mean, your room and board is paid for. So like your food, you don't pay for an apartment, like they put you up. So you literally have no expenses and they pay for your food all day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the opportunity to save money is huge. And I didn't come home. I think the first contract I came home with $1,000. It's so sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you had the time of your life.
Oh man. But I have a journal that's this thick on experiences.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a
really
delicate balance. That's a delicate balance between experiences and because experiences cost money and having money in the bank, We'll get into that later, but I mean, that's still pretty special, all the memories you got to make in Hawaii at that time.
Oh,
that's
for
amazing.
Sure. Yes. So I ended up doing 2 contracts through Norwegian, and then my third contract was through it was actually through a university, and I don't remember the university now, but it was like an anthropology major. They could take different cruises and study different cultures. So it was
wow.
Yeah, right? I'm like, where was that when I enrolled in college?
Yeah.
Hello, I would have done that.
Yeah.
I would have blew more money. Hello.
Yeah.
Student
At least I could have
loans.
gotten financial
Check,
aid
check,
to
check.
pay for it.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Pay it back
So-
later, but
Yeah. Just rack it up. My third ship was it was called the MV Explorer, which is the alumni. I think it was like through some university in Georgia or something. And
Cool.
I did Costa Rica, Panama, just more South America. I remember doing Jamaica, all those good places. So, but it's so crazy because it's like such a crazy life, because you live and eat and sleep on the ship, but you also miss land. Like you miss your friends, you miss your family, you know, you miss all that good stuff. So after I finished working on the cruise ship, I actually moved to Fort Collins, Colorado with my roommate that I met on the cruise ship. Yeah. And I remember being there. Our apartment was super tiny. It was a 1-bedroom, and we were paying close to $1,300 a month for a 1-bedroom in Fort Collins. And I remember thinking like, oh man, I got to get my crap together. But that was still not when I got my crap together.
No, of course not. No. We know it's coming, but it's not happening.
Yeah, still didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I was in Fort Collins, I was sketching like, I've always loved art and painting and stuff. I remember sketching like if I wanted to open my own salon one day, and I just couldn't picture anywhere else other than Pinckneyville, my hometown, my people.
Yeah.
So I was sketching this outline of how many stations I wanted and little people on this blank notepad. And then I decided to move back home and open my own salon in 2008.
I love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
In
so
2008.
cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Gosh.
So the worst year.
Yes, seriously.
Oh, we got a comment here. Dane Mason says, love Sarah. She is a rock star, and I'm honored to know her.
Aww.
Dane,
Dane's
you're so
awesome.
sweet. Dane is awesome. We love Dane.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. See, we know people over there in Perry County.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. So you decide you're going to do it. You come back. You start your salon. Was there a journey between there, or was it like things just started coming together?
Yep, I remember. It just so happened that when I came back, there was a little like building on the square that was for lease, and it just was perfect because it was on the square. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much traffic. This is a perfect opportunity to have a salon on the square in Pinckneyville. So we called the owner and said, hey, how much is your building? This is what I'm looking at, blah, blah. So we worked out this deal that if my dad is like, I won the lottery when it comes to my parents. They're just super
That's
awesome.
wonderful. That's
So
wonderful.
We love to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So my dad is a super handy guy. So he was like, well, why don't you work out a deal with the owner that I'll take care of all the stuff, if there's repairs and for a lower amount of rent. And I'm sure he regrets that now.
You put him to work.
Yeah, a lot of things went wrong, a lot. But he saved me a lot of money.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Bless the dad. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, for sure. So I started. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what's the name of your salon? Like, did you stick with the first name you came up with, or how did that work? Because I love this kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh. I remember like sketching out all these names, and I remember telling my roommate like some of my names, and I remember the one, I thought it was so cool. I was like, and their salon's name this, so I'm just gonna say it and just know that I don't mean any harm. But I thought it was so clever, like the main attraction, because I thought the mane like a lion's mane.
Yes.
And she was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard ever. And I was like, no, I really like it. I love
I do love it, actually.
Right? I thought it was clever.
I think so too.
I ended up sketching out all these names, and I landed on sheer attitude because I thought, the people that know me know that I'm pretty sassy, but I'm pretty authentic, but I'm like, got a little attitude, kicking butts, taking names. So I ended up with sheer attitude.
That's cute.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So you got the name, you got the building. What did that look like after that?
Oh man. And I remember we signed a lease. This is so funny now because I think I was 22, 23 at the time. So I remember signing the lease and it was a year long. And I said to my dad, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a really long time. And he was like, Sarah Jo, we're not doing this for you to like try it out for a year. Like, this is it. And I'm like, oh no, like, oh, forever? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, this is a long time. What if I don't have any people walk through the door? Like, it could.
Christian says hello, by the way.
Oh, I love Christian.
Hey, Christian. Oh my gosh. So you're like, when no one walks through the door.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I remember thinking the first year I opened, I was like, oh my gosh, my parents, they told me now, they didn't tell me at the time, but they're like, oh my gosh, Sarah, there's so many salons in Pinckneyville. Like, they said now, they would never tell me, but they're like, we were so scared for you because there was already like 6 salons in Pinckneyville. Like, they're like, I don't know if there's enough people to support your business. And I was like, if they would have told me, I would have been like, oh my God, there's doubt. Like, I cannot do it. But at the time I was like, yeah, I mean, we'll just see if people come in, let's just pray for the best. So
I think
they
Brittany
did.
dropped out, but keep talking, keep going. Okay. She'll be back on.
Yes. So, gosh, after I opened, I decided my first year in business, I was just going to build up my clientele first, like get my people, haircuts. I think I did pedicures at the time. I had pedicure thrones, all that good stuff.
Wow.
But I decided to do me for a year, and then I would start hiring. So, yeah.
You hired after your first year?
Yep, 1 year,
wow.
And then I hired my first stylist.
Holy cow, that's quick.
Yeah. I know, right? Thinking back, it felt long. Like, everybody's like, why don't you put more stations in? Why do you put more? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have a clientele myself. Like, let alone share it with people,
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies, had a little technical difficulty, but I'm back.
Yeah, so she was just saying that she kept
going.
Yeah, yes. She was just saying that she hired her first stylist after a year.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm back. So after a year, you already started growing your business?
Yes. So my first year, I just wanted to do me, focus on my clientele, grow my people first, and then started hiring my first stylist after the first year. Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did it end up being?
Oh yeah. So this is so crazy. But I started off I hope that you guys can hear me okay, because my family is crazy and they're in the background.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It is so fine.
Good.
I have a dog.
You guys are on vacation.
In the next room.
Disclaimer.
Yes.
They're on vacation in Florida.
Yes.
Oh, you're in Florida?
Yes. And
she took time out of her vacation to talk to us.
Yes.
Thank you. I love that.
So, they I don't know. My first year, I just did me, and then my second time. Oh my gosh.
No worries.
I hired my first person, and then after that, just fast forward.
Yeah.
Gosh, 13 years. Now I have 9 girls working for me.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You are a boss.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
Crazy.
Good for you.
So I'm curious about what point did you look at things and go, I'm going to have to do something different with my finances.
Yes. Oh, man. So I had this opportunity to go to Dallas, Texas. I met this girl. I was at a hair show in Cancun, Mexico with Matrix. And it was just kind of a continuing education thing. You know, we do
love
haircuts.
your life.
Yeah.
Can I, like,
yes.
What do I have to do to just like, can I like carry your like hairspray or something?
Yeah. Girl, your confidence coach, we need that too.
Yes,
a lot of hairdressers need that with it.
Just get in there and just like tune it up and like
yes, for sure. So I met this lady. She was on stage and she was talking about finance, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to meet her. Like, she just spoke to me. Like, wow. I know other hairdressers need help, you know. So I met her after the show, and she was like, hey, can you come to Dallas, Texas, like in a few weeks? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know this lady, but she seems awesome. And I'm all about opportunities, you know. So
yeah.
I ended up flying to Dallas and going to this, it's called World Finance Group. It's a company that has a tagline of helping, like, I forget what their goal. It's like 100,000 families become financially secure. It's a really great cause, great company.
Oh, wow.
So I went there and just came home inspired. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, it just so happened that like 3 or 4 months later, I was teaching on stage at Harrisburg at a community college. They called me to come and do a color correction class. And I said, you know what, can I add a piece of finance in with this? Because I think it would be really helpful for hairdressers. And they were like, yeah, sure. So I did my color spiel first, because that's what hairdressers want, not what they, you know, they don't want to hear about finance, but they want it color correction. So I taught that first. And then I kind of finished with financial literacy. So after the show, this is when it really hit home, is I had a lady come up to me, and she was 82, because I still have her little finance card. And she said she's still working behind the chair, and she has multiple credit cards, and she's in debt. And I'm like, she goes, I wish I would have met you 30 years ago. And I'm like, oh man, oh my gosh, 82. And this is so crazy. I was just teaching in Collinsville, and Christian was he was there. And I said, this lady's still working. And people started like applauding, like, they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no. I'm like, you guys, I should have started with the credit cards first. Like, and this is why I always say there's a difference between continuing to work because you love your trade and you love what you do, or continuing to work because you financially have to.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yes. Yep. So give yourself that choice and really start young. I mean, it's never too old. So even if you're watching this and you're like, oh man, it's too late for me. It's never too late. So yeah, that's really on stage is when it hit me that I'm like, oh man, I need to like help hairdressers. Like, this is my calling. I'm like, no more haircuts. These hairdressers are my people. I need to get to work and save as many as I can.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Amazing.
Mallory Miner just commented exactly. You shouldn't have to work at 82. You should not.
Exactly.
So Sarah, with your personal journey, at what point were you able to turn things around for yourself?
Yes.
And then feel like, you know, because I know you turned things around for yourself, and was it then that you helped others, or were you helping people in the process? What did that look like?
Yes. So I started getting my crap together, I would say right in the end of 2018, at the beginning of 19.
Wow.
And like late.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I actually, before I went to this conference, I added up my credit cards, and this is so crazy because I'm a business owner and I've always been profitable, but I've always had credit cards and I never really thought about it. It was just like for business emergencies, whatever. Well, what happened is I'm also an educator with a company called Matrix. And what they would do is they would pay me to go teach, and then I would expense the hotels and all my meals on my credit card, and then they would reimburse me for that and pay me for teaching. So when they gave me the money, I would never pay off my credit card.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Rolling in the money, right?
No.
Cold cash.
Yeah.
You got
Free
paid
cash.
Yes. Yes. So
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
oh man, oh my gosh. So I remember calling my friend. I ended up putting it on a sheet. It was like this debt calculator thing. And
gosh.
it's so crazy because
No.
yeah, I was like, oh, 1,000 here, 1,500. Like they were all small amounts. Like there was nothing over like $20,000, you know? So it was like 1,000, 1,500. And I added it up and I was at $49,000 in debt.
Oof. Wow.
Over stupid things.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
You know,
so
things I can't
easy.
even remember. Like, you
I
know,
know.
that must have been really worth it if I can't remember it, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So in 2018, at the very end of December, I made it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to wipe out my debt. It took me 1 year and I wiped out everything.
Wow.
I mean, everything with my debt, plus my car, plus all my business debt, all that. So 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Oh, man.
Yes. But I never should have been it in the first place. But now the freedom that it feels like, you know, I'm always telling my girls that work for me, you know, one of my girls, she wants a Jeep so bad. And all the girls that she knows have Jeep Wranglers. And I'm like, girl, pay cash. You know, like an average millionaire drives a 4-year-old car with no payments. Like it's not what it seems. Like if you can pay $500 car payment, then you could also put that into a Roth IRA and be a millionaire by the time that you're 55. Like things that you could have done differently that would financially put you so much far ahead, you know, when it comes time to retire. So yeah.
Absolutely. So you had this, you went, which by the way, I wanted to add, I started my debt-free journey in 2018. And
awesome.
So mine took a little longer. We finished this year, actually, this last month. And, you know, student loans, all the things, except the mortgage, and that, you know, I'm totally fine with.
Oh, sure.
But I understand what you're talking about, like listing out all of it, and then you're like, it takes your breath away. Like it's like, and then it feels so, it just almost feels impossible, you know. Like, but then when you realize it's possible, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 5 years, like it's worth that journey throughout the entire time to get you to the point where it's like, this weight is lifted, and now I can start doing those things to make sure that I'm never in that situation again. And it's just so liberating. So I'm loving this entire conversation, because no one should ever feel discouraged when they listed it all out and when they look at the number, because that's your aha moment that I have to buckle down now. And I have to say no to a lot of things for really a short period of time in the whole grand scheme of life, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard. I feel like the hardest part is that in order to maintain a social life, it comes at like a social life costs you $50 at least every time. Like I feel like we can always say anytime as an individual person, like even if you're just like a single person, every time you walk out your door in a cute dress, you're gonna spend $50 that night at least.
Yep.
You're dropping
Exactly.
$50.
Yep.
Because even then, I'm gonna wind up writing a tip that'll equal $50.
Yep.
I don't know why that is me.
Yep.
And it's like whenever I started just being like, actually, I cannot afford to take this shot. I'm not doing that. I will not take these shots. I will not buy eggs with weird sauce on them that are $13. It's not. I'm not gonna do it. I have eggs at home.
Yes, I know.
I have eggs at home.
Are you kidding me? I'll buy a chicken for $13.
I know. And you know what? You'd think it's like a phase, but I still struggle with it. I mean, like, I'm a shopper at heart.
Yeah,
like
it's hard.
they came out with those new like Consuela bags, and I'm like, oh my God, they're so cute. And I'm like, I need one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is more important, my retirement or a purse? Sometimes I'm like, maybe a purse. But really,
maybe.
Could you imagine me holding my retirement in that purse?
Oh my gosh, I know. Yes, seriously, I know. And you know, they always say, you know, you become the 5 people you're around the most. And luckily, so I was in debt. You know, I started getting my crap together in like 2018. But luckily, my dad encouraged me to start a Roth IRA when I was 21.
Ooh,
what? So, yeah. So ideally, I know, right?
Kudos
He's a
to your
handy
dad.
man.
Yes. So in a perfect world, you would become debt-free first and then start your retirement, you know, but at the time I was still contributing and maxing out multiple money market accounts and still racking up debt, which is ridiculous. I could have been putting twice as much in there, but I was still contributing. Thank God.
Yeah.
That I'm not not saying that, but I'm still okay, even though I made bad choices. And same thing, it's never too late to like get your crap together.
Why not, like, the moment you sign up for the draft, you also have to sign up for an IRA? Like,
yes.
Why not that same moment? It's like driver's license, signed up for the draft, took my ASVAB, Roth IRA.
Honestly,
ACT.
as soon as you, like, before you graduate, right? Like, you should. Because we, you know, some of us signed up for student loans. Like, why is it not, like, just
part of the culture?
Yep.
It's like, you're an American, you have this, and a Roth IRA.
Well, yes.
Contribute.
It's not talked about, honestly. And I feel like what also happens is when you're in your 20s is like, oh, I'll get to that. And there's a lot of times you never do get to it. And if you don't surround yourselves with people who are having those conversations, you're never going to think of it. It's never going to happen for you, you know? And that's why I'm so passionate about debt freedom conversations and like retirement conversations, is because I do know there's, you know, just a whole chunk of people that they are just living in the moment, and there has to be a delicate balance. Like, I think it's amazing that you got to have those experiences making money. Yes, you may have only come home with $1,000, but it sounds like you were investing and doing the right things, you know, just instinctively. And all that. So when did you decide to start My Salon Freedom? And then what has that looked like for you now?
So after I became debt free, I remember like going around and teaching hairdressers, and they were like, hey, you know, you mentioned that you're debt free, like, tell me more. Or like, how did you do that? Or like, what did you do first? Or what credit card did you knock out first? And I'm like, oh, girl, call me or text me. Like, I'll help you no matter what, you know. So a common question I get all the time is, you know, like, if you have multiple credit cards, which one should you knock out first, the highest interest or lowest balance? But we always say in Salon Freedom that just do your smallest balance first, because there's kind of a snowball method that you celebrate wins and you start knocking more out, and it gives you enough like excitement and like momentum to do the next one. Where if the high interest one might be a big balance and you're knocking it out, but you're not really seeing the benefit yet, it's kind of discouraging, you know? So I think when I started teaching and telling people about my salon and I think that's when more people are like, hey, like what's the difference between Roths, or how did you know which Roth to sign up for? So all that good stuff. So I think it was really through teaching with Matrix that I got all these questions from hairdressers that I'm like, okay, that just is kind of like, I guess, security to know that I'm doing the right thing, that there is a demand for this in my, you know, career or my industry.
Wow. What a path.
Yeah, right?
It's such a journey.
Yes.
Wow.
So when you work with someone, do you do like the actual coaching where you like sit down and you're like, let's saw your things out. Let's look at a strategy. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, so I do in-salon coaching, or I do one-on-one coaching, whether Zoom or phone calls. But I have Freedom sheets, they're called, and they're so cute because a lot of Freedom debt roll-up is like black and white, and it's really scary.
Yeah.
And like mine are really colorful, and they're like doodles on the side. So it says Freedom Thieves. So at the top, which I thought was so clever, my friend Shauna came up with the name, and I just love it. But yeah, I sit down with them and say, okay, let's take a look. And you know, honestly, I've had a few class requests that are still for like color correction, and then I'll ask them if I can throw in some finance at the end, because finance is really vulnerable. Like nobody really wants to talk about it. And the fact that I just said it online, like I'm like, oh gosh, I hope people don't judge me. I've owned a business and they just know that I just said that I had $49,000 on the debt. Like it's scary talking about it. So I've been taking surveys, and I did a show in Marion this year, and I had 253 attendees, and it was Salon Freedom put it on. And we did a survey at the end, like scan this little QR code, take a survey. And one of the questions was, are you currently working with a coach? Do you have a retirement? And these are like golden nuggets for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like 30 questions. But one of the biggest ones is, I think 68% said they didn't have anything at all. And then there was a choice that said my significant other does. And in fact, after the Marion show, this girl came up to me and was like, hey, I just want to let you know you're doing great things, because I was at your show in Harrisburg and I was married at the time, and now I'm divorced and I have absolutely nothing. And she goes, had I listened to you, 4 years ago, I would have started my own, but I didn't think I had to. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's a lot of people's lives too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you...
Yep. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude is got it, taking the wheel on all these financial decisions, and he's like your age at 20. Like,
yeah,
you don't know anything more than me.
Yep, exactly. So I forget, it's like one of the questions too was, would you be willing to have a 15-minute phone call with Salon Freedom? And I think that it was same thing. It was like 86% of people said yes. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. Like, I haven't even started on it yet, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that I have a lot of work cut out for me, that I think I can help a lot of people.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yes.
I love that. I think, and it's such important work, especially, I don't know why it's not something that everyone talks about enough. I think things are changing. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of our age group that's like, wait a minute, like, we really need to be focusing on this, because what's the point of working so hard and long if there's not a point to enjoy it and have an abundance during that time? Like, why should we be working so long and hard now to maybe only have a little bit of money in the long run, or no money at all? Obviously that, one lady, and I absolutely hate to hear that, but it's just one of those things where I just want to, like, let's just go to every like 16-year-old and like, hey guys, be millionaires, let's be millionaires. Because no one was telling me that. No one was saying you can like, you think a millionaire is someone who's literally making $1 million a year. No, that's not true. Like, you could be making $40,000 a year. You can be making less, you can be making more. It's all about how much money you're taking home at the end of the day. It's not about how much money you are making, because there are people who make a lot more money than me, who are in way more debt than me, because their lifestyle just keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
Exactly. Yep. I remember you said something, Casey, earlier, and it was like, oh my gosh, like student loans, whatever. I remember reading this quote, and it said like, America is one of the richest countries, and yet we have the most debt problems.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And another thing I teach in my classes is that Social Security is great, but it's something that you shouldn't count on. When I was at that World Finance Group seminar in Dallas, I met this professor. She works at Harvard. Her name is Dr. Denali, and she was saying then that Social Security has like 16 years worth of money, and then it's out completely. And not saying, I mean, I know that it's been a scare forever, and that there's things they can do to change it and increase it by 1%, blah, blah, blah. But still, I know my mom, she's 64 and she gets Social Security, and it's like $1,000 a month. Guys, $1,000, that's poverty. Yeah. That's $12,000 a year. That is not enough to live on. That's not even enough for medication if you have, a certain illness or something. That's not even enough.
Yeah. So definitely not like living a life, like, I mean, if I'm like going tight on my groceries, it'll be like $100 a week. And that's if I'm like, okay, like we're gonna make some cuts. Like usually it winds up being like, which is like me and my boyfriend, usually it'll wind up throughout the week somehow inching towards like 175 to 200.
Yep.
And that's already hitting like $800 of her $1,000.
Exactly. And that's with nothing else. No electric, no water.
Yeah.
That's just groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the humbling number is if anyone has not actually signed up for their Social Security website to see your number, do that. I remember
what is this?
I signed
I've never done this.
Yeah, you can go to the Social Security Administration website and you can create your profile, and then they'll have all your information on there, how much you've paid in thus far, how much you should expect, all of that stuff. And I did this a couple years ago, and I stopped and I looked at it and I was like, I am not. That will be a bonus if it happens. That will not be something I bank on. It just won't. I think we lost Sarah for a minute, so we'll see if she comes back, and if not, but I'm just gonna go ahead and talk to whoever's listening right now. Like, it is so important to take the time to go through your numbers and to do. Let me see if I'll get a notification when Sarah comes back on. Go through your numbers and really look at everything. If you're already debt free, that's amazing and good for you. If you've never gotten into that point, like, that's amazing too. But statistically, like, the majority of America is in debt.
Oh yeah.
And
I think
we don't have to be.
It's been made so easy though. I mean, like, whenever I was 18, I signed up for an MTV credit card and got it. They approved me.
Oh,
there's no reason to give me a credit card at 18 that has the MTV astronaut on it. I had the MTV credit card. I fell into that. That was what I was just talking about, was like how easy it is to get into debt, how ridiculously easy. And then they were just like, boop, here you go, you're 18, we just approved you, babe. Great job. Enjoy your MTV credit card. If you rack up 5,000 points, you can get backstage with the entire cast of Degrassi, babe. Good job. Keep going. Going.
Melanie Bickett, we were talking about supportive moms earlier. Yeah, my mom just popped in to say hey, or just popped in to say what beautiful ladies. Thank you, Mother. We appreciate that. Valerie Miner says, and to have friends who are willing to talk to you about this. She said, you were my first friend who talked to, you were my first friend who I talked to about money. Yes, Mallory and I had a really, some Maurice's for me, Casey, for the credit card. Mallory and I, we had a really good conversation about debt freedom. And it was just kind of one of those things where I think when you're already kind of piled high with stuff, you just think you can't get out, period, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is life now. And that doesn't have to be that way, Well, Sarah, we don't want to take a whole lot more of your time because we know you're on vacation and all of that good stuff. But how can people work with you? Like if they want, and I know you work specifically with salons,
Yes.
maybe not salons, but specifically salons.
Yeah, for sure. So you can visit my website at www.mysalonfreedom.com. It is up and going now.
Yes.
It does have I have some free cheat sheets that are available on my website that are debt thieves. So I offer those free. There's actually 3 sheets that you can get on my website that's totally free. Like I want you to have them. And there's no judgment. I don't even know that you downloaded them. You know, I might ask for your email for the future, but that's it. That's all you have to do. So you can have some cheat sheets. One of those other sheets too is it's called a freedom map, where it talks about your goals. Like a big question that I asked at one of the conferences was, what age do you plan to retire? And I'm so shocked at the hairdressers that are like, no one's ever asked me that before. Like I'm like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then I have some that say, I'll just work until my body can't anymore. And I'm like, oh man, let's change that. Yeah.
Okay, we love our hairdressers because they are so creative. They can see our faces and know what cut is going to look good on us. They work so hard, standing, their arms up, you know, all these different things. Our hairdressers deserve to retire.
Yes, exactly.
Period.
Exactly.
Full sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I know I've been cutting hair for 16 years. I got licensed in 2004. And I know at 36 years old that my 2 fingers, my ring finger, my pinky, are going numb at night. So I know that's already like early stages of like carpal tunnel or some elbow nerve stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I know that I can't work at the same speed I am now forever. And I don't want to. I already know that now, that I'm like, oh man, my body's already starting to tear down a little bit. So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Back to, you asked me how to connect. My website, mysalonfreedom.com. And then I am on Instagram. I'm really bad at Instagram. So don't message me on there because it'll take forever to respond. And then Facebook's probably the one I'm most on. So on Facebook, it's Salon Freedom LLC. And then you'll see updates and all that good stuff. And yeah, you can connect with me there.
I love that. So nice, you are doing such important work.
Yeah.
And I after, you know, I've heard a little bit about you, and then, you know, whenever I see Christian share stuff about you, and, you know, it's always something that's piqued my interest because, you know, it's my favorite topic. But I'm really excited to watch your debt freedom empire really grow.
Yeah.
And you change the lives of so many hairdressers across the country and definitely around the world, because it's not just here. And I know you've already been speaking to people on, you know, wider audiences, but I'm really excited to see what you do with My Salon Freedom.
Yes.
Yes.
So cool.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight and taking time out of your vacation and your family time. We really appreciate it. And I definitely want to stay in touch and just keep hearing how everything's going for you.
Yes, you guys too.
Definitely.
Thank you so much
nice
for having me. Yes. This is great.
Thank you. Well, you have a good one, Sarah.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.